Is today's journalism slanted? Are opinions and commentary more important than facts? Yellow journalism, not well researched, uses eye-catching headlines to sell newspapers and to get viewers. Yellow journalism exaggerates events, focuses on scandal, and highlights sensationalism. What's acceptable? A lie told beautifully or the truth told with no glamour? Journalism on trial. This is Counterpoint with Gerard McClendon. Is today's journalism slanted? Are opinions and commentary more important than facts? Thank you for watching Counterpoint. Call us at 844-777-9311. Tweet and send Facebook comments to Gerard MC. At the Counterpoint today are Jerry Davidge from the Post-Tribune. I've got Judith Ruiz-Branch from Crane Chicago Business and Michael Puente from WBEZ. Welcome, you three. Thanks so much for being on Counterpoint today. I appreciate you. So we're just coming off of a historic presidential election, a brutal primary, brutal general election, and we've got a new person that's going to be in the White House. And so more than ever, we're 16, 17 years after the new millennium, all right, the turn of the century. More than ever, social media has had an extreme presence on people's opinion, on newsrooms. And so I asked the three of you today, is today's journalism slanted? It's an open-ended question, it's a loaded question, but with all this journalistic competition out here today, I've got someone from a newspaper, I've got someone from a radio station, and I've got someone from a magazine. All this competition out here, is journalism slanted? Who wants to start us off?
All of my journalism is slanted.
Go ahead, start us off.
Go ahead,
as
Mike.
the most slanted person here. No,
But that's the truth. I'm a columnist, so everything I
well,
write is
I'm
kind
going
of
to say
biased.
that by very nature, journalism shouldn't be slanted. I mean, anything that is slanted, and we're not talking about columnists. Columnists have a very important role in journalism and in newspapers. We're talking about news. We're talking about media packages, stories that are presented as journalism, but aren't journalism. Ooh. So it's not really journalism if it's slanted in any way. I mean, I'm kind of old-fashioned. I can't do it any other way. I feel like a dinosaur now to do it right down the middle. But we're seeing more and more people don't want that type of journalism anymore. They want to go to the news outlet that they agree with. For some reason, we kind of want to learn less. And I don't understand that.
So, Mike, is it harder for you to go straight down the middle with your stories these days?
It's not harder for me because I'm trained. I've been doing it for so
Yeah.
long. I can't do it any other way. I don't think people really care about what my opinion is.
Do people ever accuse you of leaning one side or the other?
Oh,
Even though you go
absolutely,
straight
because
down the middle?
we're in the media, so they do accuse me sometimes of being biased or unbiased. I always take it to where if both sides are angry at you, you're doing your job.
You're doing your job. So Jerry, you're a columnist. Chime in on that question. And you have the ability to be slanted because you're an editorialist.
Some of my columns are biased overtly. You could tell, obviously, from the first sentence on. Other ones are not so much. What I tell readers when they accuse me, and I get accused a lot of being biased in my writing, I will say all of my writing is biased. From every sentence, every word, everything I write, social media included, there's a bias. And I think it's hard sometimes for journalists to keep that bias out of it. And I'm impressed with the Mike Puentes of the world, the Judas of the world, who can keep things centered. Because I can't. I've been a columnist now for so long, so to speak, more than 10 years, that I don't know if I could do. I mean, I do write some stories and columns as just kind of straight up, but I think my bias slips in there.
I'm coming back to you, Mike, but I got to go to Judith Ruiz-Branch on this. Crane Chicago Business. I read the magazine. It's intense because it's like business on a hyper journalistic level, but at Crane's because you have a niche market there, the headlines and the journalism has to be a little bit more aggressive. Yes. But as a reporter there, does bias try to creep in? And how do you, Judith Ruiz-Branch, maintain your who, what, when, why, how at Crane's?
No, I don't think there's any room for biased at all, especially in the business world, because they will catch you on it. And we've gotten so many emails. I mean, if we don't publish a story and get an email from somebody correcting us or not happy with something that's been put out there, then it's not a normal day. So, I mean, I think you're going to get that anywhere, but especially when your audience are business people, CEOs, entrepreneurs, it's a higher caliber and a higher standard that you have to rise to.
So are you saying that everyone else outside of your business readers are low caliber?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
I hear you. So I'm going to come back to you, Mike, but I'm going to stay with you, Judith Ruiz-Branch from Cranes. The deadline is real, right?
Yes.
We know that our managing editors, that our producers, they give us a deadline. You better have that story by 5 o'clock, or you better have that story by 1 o'clock in the morning. We got papers and magazines to print. So let's say you don't have all the information, but you still have to meet the deadline. What do you do?
No, I think that's the beauty about Crane Chicago Business, is that if you don't have the story, it will not run. I know a lot of other publications don't have the luxury to do that, and I've worked at places where we're running what you have, and I won't name them, you know.
You don't have to.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the nature of the business, and publications and outlets are struggling to keep up with the social media beast. So it needs to be out, it needs to be now, it needs to be done before the deadline. But I really appreciate Crane Chicago Business because we put more emphasis on quality over quantity all the time.
This is interesting because, and then you also have the luxury though of being a weekly.
Yes.
As opposed to a daily, you know. And so
although we do have our online publication as well that comes out multiple times a day.
Gotcha.
So, you know, not really.
Gotcha.
Not really.
Michael, you had a point earlier. And
you know, I just wanted to make the point that what Jerry Davidge does is he may have a point of view, but one thing he's not doing is deceiving people. And there are media outlets out there that are deceptive. They're just trying to deceive people in that it's trying to be this sort of journalism vehicle, but they know they have a very slanted view, either left or the right. I really don't have time for any of it. And I don't really look at stuff like that. If I do, I do know that they're trying to deceive you. And that's what Jerry doesn't do.
Deceived how, Mike?
In the terms of that they're presenting a package from a reporter that is supposed to be unbiased, but it is still coming from a slanted point of view.
And it's obviously slanted.
It's obvious.
I think public perception is that everything is slanted.
Yeah,
if you ask general reader or viewer,
everything
listener,
is slanted.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most difficult thing
That's
about
what you
being
work
in
against.
journalism.
can a fact
It's
be
because
slanted though? Can a fact be
it's
slanted?
the way that you present the fact.
Oh, the presentation of
It's
the
the
fact.
way that you present the fact.
Okay, so you
even
know
in
what?
television packages,
Yeah.
why do they pick certain quotes?
Images.
Or
Why
you
do they
omit-
pick
or
certain
you omit other
images?
ones.
Why do they always have, you know, certain
are-
images of black women with the wraps in the hair
Yeah.
and when they're losing kids? You
Idiot
know,
quote.
I
Idiot
mean,
quote.
why? Why?
Okay, so you know what? You all up in my script right now. And I love this because I'm excited right now because I've always wondered, and I hope to get my answer today from the three of you. I've always wondered, should an adjective or an adverb be deleted from all journalism? Oh, go with me now.
That's
Now,
half my copy, Gerard.
All right.
Absolutely. So see where I'm going now. So let's say, for instance, I say, this is a cup. This is a coffee cup. I'm giving it adjectives now. This is a white coffee cup with blue insignia on it. Okay? Now, I can keep going with the description of this cup, but the more I describe it with adjectives, the more someone can say, whoa, wait a minute, I think differently than Gerard. You know, he's using even though he says he's spewing fact, he's using adjectives that I don't agree with. So, is there some sort of chasm between the adjective and adverb and actual factual journalism?
I think that rule number one in journalism for me is to say it with less.
To say it with less.
So get to the story, get to the point as quickly as you can possible.
Without adjectives.
I mean, I think it's
Gotcha,
if
right?
the
Yeah.
story, if the story calls for it, I mean, if it's important to tell you that the cup is white with blue insignia,
If
then
it
I'm
matters.
going to put that in there if it's relevant to the context of my story.
Okay, this
But
is,
if she said it's the tastiest coffee in the land,
Then that's an opinion.
oh, wow.
so is it a white cup or is the white cup filled with the tastiest coffee you've
Gotcha.
ever had?
No,
Gotcha.
see,
But Gerard,
Mike,
I'm
Mike.
on the radio. I'm having people hear my voice,
gotta
so
paint a
I
picture.
have to
Yeah.
paint a picture of what's going on. So if you're lifting up a white cup with blue insignia on it, public radio listeners want to know that.
So, man, this is, first of all, I thank the three of you for being here, because when you watch the news today, when you listen to news on the radio, when you pick up a newspaper, you're ingesting information. But it's not just the intake of information, there's also a dance incorporated in the ingestion, all right, and the digestion. That dance is the point of view that I have as the consumer and the theory of the world that I bring to the facts that I'm ingesting. So I may read something and say, wait a minute, this is sexist, or wait a minute, this seems to have a homophobic twist, or wait a minute, I think this is racist, when the reality is, or I'm not even gonna call it a reality, when to someone else that same article may not appear to be homophobic, racist, or sexist. So, does the journalist have a responsibility for maintaining Fox's coin statement, fair and balanced? Does the journalist have a responsibility to say, wait a minute, I gotta dance on this tightrope to make sure all of my people that are reading this are comfortable? Or do you throw comfort out the window and just tell people the facts?
You know, the tricky part, Gerard, is when I write something and I'll hear back from readers either the next day or immediately online, and they totally misconstrue what I thought I was putting out. They see a whole different perspective. Because let's say Gerard reads it, you have a different lifestyle than I do. You have a different color of skin than I do. You have different everything than I do. You're gonna read something and you might take out of that. It's like panning for gold as I view journalism. The gold comes in, you pan, you might get one gem, one little piece of nugget. Other than that, you just kind of sift through it. So
Yeah.
people sift through this and they come up with different perspectives that I didn't even realize until after the fact. It must have happened to Mike and Judith at some point.
There's been a lot of instances where you do got to watch out your P's and Q's and not to offend certain groups or say things certain ways. There are some phrases that may be acceptable in some areas and some phrases that you try to write around or use a different way of saying it. It's just kind of the reality of the way journalism
But have we
is this
crossed
year.
the line? Is it too much that we're doing now?
I don't know.
Like a political
What do you mean,
correctness?
to
Are we
censor
stepping?
yourself?
Yeah, are we stepping over the line too much because we're so afraid of stepping on toes
I don't
these
think it's
days?
afraid. I think it's a responsibility because
Not to offend?
no, not to offend, but to just stick to the facts, because there is and I don't want to say this to offend anyone, but the old school generation, like my grandparents, sit there and watch the news all day, every day. They don't miss.
Yeah.
Right.
I got to move to the next segment. Judith, I'm loving this conversation. Is today's journalism slanted? I want to thank you for watching Counterpoint. We will be back shortly. Tweet me, post on Instagram, or send me a message on Facebook. Let's start the conversation. Your voice is important on Counterpoint. Is today's journalism slanted? Thank you for watching Counterpoint. Give me a call, 844-777-9311. Tweet and send Facebook comments to Gerard MC. Jerry Davis, Judith Ruiz-Branch, Michael Puente. Join us at the Counterpoint. Thank you so much for staying with us during the second segment here. Judith Ruiz-Branch from Crane Chicago Business, you mentioned responsibility, and I love the way the conversation is going here. You mentioned this tightrope walking, Jerry Davidge, of the dance of do we cater and pander to readers, or do we stick to the hard line of truth here? At the same time, how do we make it readable? Because that first sentence and that first paragraph is so important. Judith Ruiz-Branch, we don't have to sacrifice responsibility. I gave you guys the article on clickbait, for instance. Is clickbait the death of journalism? Why should I read Crane's? Why should I listen to Michael Puente on WBEZ? Why should I read your column when all I have to do is go to Facebook and Twitter and clickbait?
No, it's true, but it's the reputation that comes along with it. And that's what us as journalists have to constantly upkeep and uphold. And once we get readership and followers and people who realize that we are credible as well as our publication, then yeah, sure, they can go on Facebook and Twitter, but is what they're reading accurate? When they come to us, they know, I know that she's accurate.
Do you think
I know
people
that
care?
he's
Do you think
accurate.
people care?
I think they do care.
So you think all people care, or a certain age group cares, or a certain segment of people care about facts, or do they want something that's juicy?
I think intelligent people care.
Oh,
I think
He dropped his pen. You made him drop his pen, Judith.
wow.
That's it.
Now this is, I love where she's taking this, because I've often wondered, are we living in the highest technologically advanced society we've ever had in as far as woman and mankind? But is there a downside to that where people say, I've got so much technology, I don't even need to read anymore. I don't even need to listen to WBEZ anymore.
I think people still have a primal instinct to tell us a good story. Like sitting around a campfire is like sitting around a computer screen these days. Same thing. And just tell us a good story. Fill in the facts, of course, but we also want to hear a story along the way. I can't always trust what readers give back to me. I mean, I think that they read my column maybe continuously, hopefully, because it's a trust factor. They know who I am, and they kind of trust where it's coming from. Anybody could be a writer these days. Anybody can write stories, blogs, social media, columns. You see it everywhere. I think at this point in our history, more people are writing, putting stuff out everywhere. So how do you sift through that? Again, that pan of gold.
So,
Yeah, but he's talking about our history, though, but we're coming into a time with a new President-elect Donald Trump, where he's made sort of the media almost public enemy number one. And just the other day, he's talking about on 60 Minutes about he's going to still tweet. He's tweeting against the New York Times. So he's bashing our most fundamental, respected journalism institutions out there. And he has this platform where people are going to listen to the leader of the free world instead of trusting that the journalists out there aren't trying to get them, but they are trying to do their responsibility in covering the president in a very responsible way. So he's doing a great job, and other people are doing a great job in trying to dismantle the very critical role that we have, especially coming into this new presidency. You know, the media is really going to have to address some of these concerns that we're untrustworthy, that we're biased.
And people want to buy it. They want to believe that.
They want to believe that, but it's up to us to try to fight back on that and build that trust up. I don't know if we can, but we have to.
So do we believe what we want regardless of fact? So we know that people like to watch and read and listen to news agencies that have their bent, all right, that have their angle, all right? You have people who watch far right, quote unquote news, far left, quote unquote news. There's like this battle right now between MSNBC and Fox News. It's unbelievable. When you turn the channel, it's like you can't find a middle ground because they put their foot in the turf and it's like, this is where we stand, and we'll give you a little bit of the other side. So what as journalists do we do with that? Or is that even your responsibility to worry about people's slant? Is your job just to say, I've got to take the hard line of journalism. I have to take the hard line of doing editorial commentary, which is a form of journalism. You still have somewhat of a responsibility to tell a truth. You just can't tell blatant lies in commentary and editorial. Where does the responsibility lie? In the consumer or in the producer?
Do we give the consumer what they want? That's the question. That's the turnaround question.
Should
I'm
we
writing a
feel
column
obligated?
today on the safety pin movement going on. People wearing safety pins and out of respect for in case Trump supporters are bashing these minority groups kind of thing. And in this column, I'm putting both sides in there because I'm saying, here, it's yours. Here, consumers, here, readers, you tell me what you think. I'll put up both sides, and I did. People who are wearing the pins, people who think the pins are called diaper pins. They're slamming it and mocking it.
Yeah.
I'm putting both in the column and letting my readers kind of decide that.
Yeah, it's like hot topics over substance. And so let me challenge you here. If the writer / reader of radio content or the writer of a magazine or a newspaper is a good enough writer, a writer that has mastered their craft, do they even have to concentrate on sensationalism? Or is the writing that good where it's engaging as well as informative?
I don't think you ever should have to, concentrate on sensationalism. I think the story should speak for itself, but at the same time, we are seeing where in certain groups, you're saying whose responsibility is it to build up this trust, or the public, or us? I certainly don't like going to news events where I'm considered the enemy, or.
Have you felt like that, Mike?
Oh yeah, I've covered Donald Trump events this past campaign, and yeah, I mean, there's definitely his supporters, and there's the press.
Yeah.
And I've never seen it that way. That's why I think we are coming into a very perilous time, and I think probably, I'm not going to say unprecedented in our history, but certainly one that hasn't been around since I've been.
Is social media fueling this? Go ahead,
Well,
Julie.
I think as a journalist, your job is to uncover the truth. And if people have something to hide, that is one that they're going to start fighting back. And so I feel like, if you're ever in a situation where you feel that way, I mean, we're truth tellers, we're truth seekers.
But there's a difference between truth and facts, and everybody has different truths. Like, your truth is not going to be mine. I write things, and I think it's my truth, and I'm saying the truth.
I don't think so.
And
And
people,
not when you're talking about journalism.
then
no.
you're talking facts, maybe.
Facts.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts versus
Facts.
truth. That's the line
versus
crossed, I
truth.
think. Yeah.
So wow. I think we've gone into a whole other level now. So we've seen how Mr. Trump has turned blue portions of the map red because, I may be blending truth with Hillary Clinton didn't focus enough on her base in the last 2 months of the campaign. She ignored some states. It's like Donald Trump focused on his base even more toward the end, all right? And so in some of the states that he turned red, there were people who felt that we used to be blue, but that's not our truth anymore.
I think he turned them red without using truth or facts. He used rhetoric and propaganda.
There we go.
Yeah.
And he did it with,
and it works. And
it
that's
with,
the new template people are looking for.
so they're looking.
Give us that.
So is the new template: use Twitter, use Facebook,
Sensationalism.
Be inflammatory.
be inflammatory.
Catch somebody's eye.
The key, so regardless of who it could be a political candidate, it could be a business, it could be a celebrity. Is the key now to just get attention? Gary Vaynerchuk,
It worked
owner
for
of
President of the United
VaynerMedia,
States.
It did.
Yeah, he says we are in a constant battle over attention.
Yeah.
Every day we trade attention. Michael Puente wants people to listen to his news story. Jerry Davidge wants people to read his column. Judith Ruiz-Branch wants people to read her article
At what cost?
in Cranes. And at what cost?
At what cost?
So, one of the first things people do is you write your story, it appears in your medium, and then you tweet, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, the article
Everything.
you just wrote. Why do we do that? For attention,
I
right?
do it to
Well, no,
amplify,
to get
you
hits,
get a new
yeah.
audience.
Yeah.
There's a whole new audience there.
To get clicks.
To get clicks, to get a whole new audience, to possibly get non-readers to pay attention to
Right.
something that they may not read.
Subscriptions,
Wow.
that nature.
And don't underestimate that our companies count all of those clicks.
Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
no,
No,
it's
yeah, that's
digital
right.
media is like
They know exactly
it's
how
the
many
great
clicks I'm getting
equalizer
every
among
column I
TV,
write.
radio, and
Yeah.
newspaper. It's just the way the landscape of media is
With
now.
print media dying, digital
Every
media
week
rising.
we get a
Yeah.
list of the top stories that have gotten the most views.
So we know.
Do you guys think print is dying, though?
Yes. I think it's been slow.
I personally hope not.
You hope
Well,
not?
we,
Do you
we,
think,
well, he didn't say hope. None of us hope.
Michael Puente, do you think radio's dying?
No.
No.
I don't
Bill
think so.
Curtis. Bill Curtis told me a few years ago, he said radio is the last man, last woman standing because people have to get in the car and they're captive until they get to their destination and they have to listen to WBEZ Michael Puente.
Well, not
Just have to.
necessarily. They could put on satellite radio
Yeah.
and put it on NPR, or they could put on any other
Yeah.
1,000 outlets that are out there. It's the ones that know how to capture that audience and, improvise or, just, come up with new ideas to capture
Yeah.
that audience either through podcasting and our digital platform. So I don't think print is dying. I don't think radio is dying. But I think there are different forms and different ways you can get that content. That's what you got to be careful for. Looking at.
Judith Ruiz-Branch, I just have a little bit of time left. Is Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, is it here to stay?
Absolutely.
And
then some.
and
There's
then
going to be
some.
more coming, and
Yeah.
absolutely.
Social media
We're
landscape.
a visual and a instantaneous society right now, and that's not going anywhere. It's just going to grow bigger, bigger, bigger.
Jerry
We just have to
Davidge.
feed the beast.
Commentary, editorial, is it here to stay?
Oh, you kidding? It's rising. Everybody's doing it now. We're being, even journalists like Mike Puentes are being accused of it.
Yeah.
He's right down the middle.
Michael Puente, you get the last word, WBEZ,
great.
public radio. Is it here to stay or are we too boring, man?
Is what here? Is it Twitter,
Oh,
Facebook?
no. PBS, public radio.
We're going to be here.
Got you,
We're gonna
got you.
be here.
I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely.
Thanks to my guests, Jerry Davidge from the Post-Tribune, Judith Ruiz-Branch from Crane Chicago Business, and Michael Puente from WBEZ. Is the Daily News Slanted? Facebook me at Gerard MC or give me a call, 844-777-9311. Thank you for watching Counterpoint. I need you to stay positive, keep your head up, and always be encouraged to voice your counterpoint. Have a great week.